The A-Class DJ. It's Supta and your favorite A-lister, Tshepi.
We did say that we're going to talk all things the startup with Teboho Nthoana, who's our business advisor. We're talking about the importance of a marketing budget in your small business. Is it necessary for you to even be spending money on this? And maybe giving you tips and tricks on how to go around without breaking the bank. We've got Teboho on the line. Teboho, good morning.
Good morning, Tshepi. How are you?
How are you doing, buddy?
Fantastic.
Good, thanks.
Teboho, I mean, nowadays there's social media, the days of advertising in traditional media, be it radio, be it newspapers, be it magazines, and billboards. It's costly. And I can only imagine as a small business, it can really, really break your bank, right? Now, let's talk about the necessity when it comes to making sure that you budget for marketing and have a marketing budget in your small business. Is it necessary?
Sure. Let me take this opportunity to say good morning to all the YFM listeners. And the reason I'm saying sure is because as much as this is one of the most important, I think, budgets to consider, and it definitely is necessary, I think the reason I'm saying sure is because the reality is not every small business can afford to have a marketing budget, So, because right now, an average marketing budget is about 2% to 10% of sales, So that is an average marketing budget, 2% to 10% of sales. But however, with B2C or business to consumer products, or service, it could be as high as 20%, depending obviously on the season and the competition in the industry. So now, obviously, somebody would hear us say that to say, but I'm a new business, I've not even made sales. So then from where does the budget come from, And it's one of the most interesting phenomenon that I got to learn. It was, marketing return on investment. So marketing return on investment is that you need to look at the marketing solutions, that would look at a potential return for a particular sale. Let me make an example to say right now, we might look at obviously couple of strategies. That's why obviously research comes in. It's important to research your industry to say, obviously, who are you talking to, and how can you better attract or speak to your potential customer, So, and obviously, it's in that, identifying your niche or your target market, that you're able to put together, a set of clear goals, so of which obviously it's goals that obviously need to be measurable and specific to say right now, a reality is as a business or in your business, so where would you most likely be able to attract your first clients, Would you be able to attract them on a website? Would you be able to attract them on social media or this and that? And reality is, some of the things to consider, obviously, from a cost point of view, obviously you're saying it's a website, So then from there, what is the cost of the website, So whether it's from a design point of view, the hosting of the website, it's that. And now, most likely, from a quantifiable point of view, how would you direct your potential customer to your website, or what would you need to do for you to actually direct them, The reality is these days, we've got as well things like social media. Before you do ads and things like that, a strategy you need to look at. Let me make it simplest thing with the most, quantifiable way. Right now, if Supta, you've got 500 followers, So you must look at those 500 followers as your potential clients. So now, in terms of those 500 followers, if maybe you'd look at 10% of those people, that is about 50 of those people. 10% of those people, those are the people that would most likely buy from you. Do you understand? And right now, even if you can break it down, even if you can say 10% of that 50, how many people is that, and what can you potentially sell to them without even having to spend anything as yet? It goes back to the first discussion that we had when we started the feature, when we spoke about people. The first place where you could finance your business, it's your friends, it's your family and food.
Yeah.
So now obviously those need to be your almost immediate thing. Imagine you or Tshepi selling a product or a service. Then you call me, you sending me to your website. Is it necessary? It's not. So I'd most likely support you because I know you. So, and I could be the first point of customer for you to actually be able to attract. And right now would be to say, if ever you can be able to attract 5 to 10 people, let's say from that list of 15, what could you potentially sell to them and at how much? And obviously in that 10, maybe let's say a number of 10 people from that 50 that you're targeting. So if ever, let's say, you're selling a product to them, 10 to, let's say 2 to 10% or let alone 20% of that, maybe could be your first budget that you set aside to get your business established, to do your website, or let alone, you can even, do what we call buttering. Buttering, you can go find a web developer or a small business that's actually into websites and this and that could also benefit from the value that you're offering in your business. Instead of exchanging money, what you could do, you could negotiate a barter system to say, you've got what I need and I've got what you need. So let's exchange value of the same, let's change your services or products of the same value, so for us to actually both have what we need. So it means they could give you, let's say, a website for 5,000. So it means you all owe them a service, or you need to also render them a service that is costing the same, So then for them to actually be able to for them to develop that site. So I've realized that it really depends. I've realized that some of the strategies that I would look at that we could potentially approach, they really rely mainly on the kind of product or the kind of service that you're offering. And these are some of the things that obviously could kickstart you, without any money.
Absolutely.
Them,
Absolutely.
So that's where you find people that speak about relationship or brand equity.
Yeah.
So say by virtue of relation, you could be of benefit to something. Do you understand? So it's really that's something. That's why you find other business from a mergers and acquisition point of view. You buy into a business using straight equity. It means you buy into this business, you're not using money.
No, Teboho, you're saying a lot, my friend, and I don't want us to lose track of what we're trying to do here. And of course, I also don't want the A-listers to not have the time to jot everything down, because you are giving us so many nuggets of knowledge at a go. Now, you mentioned a lot about social media. But I want you to give us some few tricks and tips, on how a business, a small business, as you said, that not every small business has this marketing budget. But what are other strategies that are cost effective that businesses can apply in order for them to increase their market share?
Okay. The first strategy definitely would be word of mouth. You're speaking to your friends and family. To tell them about your business, and most importantly, share your business with other people. Okay. If it's on social media, you get them to reshare or retweet or whatever, that you're selling, or tell a friend, that is one. And two, they could do a referral list to say, right now, Supta, who are 2 or 5, potential friends or clients that you have that are potentially approach, and tell about my business. Or that you think need or could let alone benefit from my service offering, So obviously it's in a simplest thing like that, or even let alone somebody that you respect in the industry, you request them to share or to maybe speak about your business. I've realized that sometimes we tend to undervalue the value of word of mouth, or speaking to someone, and sometimes that's where it starts in terms from a relation point of view, for you to actually get to the next step, And two, right now, if you're going to use social media or even let alone do your website, right, guys, it's not everything these days that you need to pay for. These days, information is at our fingertips. You could sit on Google, you could sit on YouTube. They could show you how to put together, let's say, a content plan. Maybe today what you're sharing about, tomorrow what you could potentially share about, and this and that. It's a question of taking advantage of it. And others, they go to extent of even sharing templates. Obviously, you want to share something, or you want to execute something that is aligned with your strategy. Hence, obviously, it goes back to what that set of goals to say what you want to achieve. Because the way you'd speak to a client, or let's say a client base that's in the township, is different from the way you'd speak to a client base that's in the suburbs or let alone corporate. That's why obviously what you're selling and its alignment to who you want to sell to from a target market point of view is key. And it's able to actually quantify that, to actually, put it to a niche, because that would actually specify to say, typically right now, this time at 10:38, where's your client and what is your client doing? Yeah.
Teboho, I know you've been in the business for a long time, and you've started many businesses. So to speak, let's call you a serial entrepreneur, and you've gone into different industries as well. In your experience, what has been the most or the less ineffective way of marketing your business? So you've realized that this is not an effective way of making sure that my business, is out there. You've wasted money on it. Have you had that experience, and which is it?
Okay, I've definitely had that experience. I think for me, the worst experience that I've wasted money on, it's an experience of promotion. Whether using promoters to stand on traffic lights and robots, or later on using promotions on social media. And the reason is because I've realized that for the kind of service that I'm selling, it's not appealing to everyone else. So it's not a service that that is to normal consumers, but it's a service that's within a niche and within an industry. So right now, for me, how can I go? I try to find ways to say, how can I redirect that to speak to that particular individual? And some of the people that I speak to, they're too busy to be on social media, whether tweeting or reading tweets and this and that. Do you understand? But however, you most likely find them reading a blog on specific industry thing. You most likely find them listening to news or this and that, you understand? Or following business content because it's what speaks to them. So then for me, obviously, identifying that target market helped me be able to redirect and find that niche. So then, I could now save from now wasting of marketing to masses. And understood that I'm not targeting masses, but I'm targeting specific people. So then for me, it's me understanding that specific person that I could now be able to speak to that specific person based on what they want and what their need is.
So, Teboho, what I'm getting from you, as a business owner, as a young entrepreneur, know your market, know who you're talking to, know what they do, because some of them would then be in customized, spaces that you need to be tapping into rather than the more commercial aspects. Now, Teboho, because we don't have time, we're running out of time. I know you're back again next week, Tuesday. How can we get a hold of you?
I'm on all social media platforms. It's at Teboho Nthoana. Then my website is teboho.co.za.
My brother, till next week. Thank you so much, yeah?
No, thanks a lot, Doctor. Thanks, Tshepi.
That is, of course, our business advisor. Is back again next week on The Startup, where we tap into a different conversation that hopefully will help you build your business.
It's a vibe. It's a party. And it's a shindig. Only on Y.